In 2019, a man in Pennsylvania bought a roll of pennies from a bank, checked the dates the way some people do out of habit, found one that did not look right, and took it to a coin dealer who confirmed what he suspected, that penny sold at auction for $204,000. And it was the same penny that goes into parking meters, the same penny people leave in the take a penny dish at the register. The difference between the one he found and the one you handed over this morning is a specific minting error on a specific date that most people would never notice, without knowing exactly what to look for. This video tells you what to look for across 10 coins, some still in active circulation, some in jars, some in inherited collections, before you spend one by accident. Number 10. The 1943 copper penny. In 1943, the United States Mint switched penny production from copper to zinc-coated steel because copper was needed for the war effort. Every penny minted that year was supposed to be steel. Millions were made. Steel cents from 1943 are common and worth about 20 to 50 cents each. But something went wrong at 3 different mint facilities. Small numbers of copper planchets, the blank discs from which pennies are made, were left in the coin presses from the previous year's production. When the steel planchet supply ran out temporarily at the beginning of production runs, those leftover copper blanks went through the press and came out as 1943 copper pennies. Nobody was supposed to exist. The mint did not intend them. And yet they do exist, in small enough numbers that genuine confirmed examples have sold for over $200,000. The most famous sale was a 1943 D copper penny, produced at the Denver Mint, which sold for more than $2 million because it was the only known example from that specific facility. Here is your test, and it takes 15 seconds. Hold a 1943 penny near a magnet. The steel cents are magnetic. If your 1943 penny is attracted to a magnet, it is steel and worth almost nothing to collectors. If it is not attracted to a magnet, stop everything you are doing and take it to a professional numismatist before it goes anywhere. Do not clean it. Do not polish it. Do not put it back in circulation. The condition of a 1943 copper penny affects its value significantly, and the difference between a coin in good condition and the same coin cleaned or damaged can be the difference between $200,000 and $20,000. Magnets cost $1. The test costs 15 seconds. The potential return is not small. Number 9. The 1955 doubled die Lincoln cent. You do not need a magnifying glass to see what makes this coin extraordinary. You need to look at the lettering on the front of the coin under decent light, and if you are holding a 1955 doubled die, you will immediately understand what the name means. The doubling is dramatic. The date, the words liberty, and the phrase "in God we trust" all appear to be printed twice, slightly offset from each other, creating a shadow or echo effect that is visible to the naked eye. This is not the subtle doubling that appears on dozens of coin varieties and requires magnification to detect. The 1955 doubled die is the most visually obvious major error in American coin history. It happened because of a misaligned hub during the production of the master die. Approximately 20 to 24,000 of these coins were released into circulation, most of them appearing in cigarette vending machine change in the New England area. Many were eventually pulled from circulation by collectors who recognized them immediately, which means the surviving population, while not tiny, has been declining as coins are damaged, lost, or acquired by long-term collectors who do not sell. A 1955 doubled die Lincoln cent in poor condition, heavily worn, sells for around $1,300. In fine condition, it brings $5,000 to $15,000. In uncirculated condition, a documented example is sold for over $100,000. The test: examine every 1955 Lincoln cent you encounter under good natural light or a single directional lamp. The doubling on a genuine doubled die is impossible to miss once you know to look for it. It does not require expertise to see. It requires knowing that the coin exists and looking at the right area of the design. Number 8. The 1916 D Mercury dime. The Mercury dime, officially called the Winged Liberty Head dime, was produced from 1916 through 1945. Most dates in the series are common. The 1916 D is not. It is the rarest coin in the entire Mercury dime series, produced in such small numbers that it belongs in a completely different conversation from every other year in the set. The Denver Mint produced only 264,000 Mercury dimes in 1916, the first year of the series. By comparison, the Philadelphia Mint produced 22 million. The Denver coins entered circulation, were spent, lost, and worn, and the surviving population today is small enough that any confirmed example attracts significant collector attention. Here is what makes this coin particularly important for the person going through an inherited collection or a jar of old dimes. The 1916 D can be identified in circulated condition, even with significant wear, because the date and mint mark are clearly visible. The D mint mark appears on the reverse of the coin, to the left of the word 1. A small D in that location on a 1916 Mercury dime is the identification marker that changes everything. A 1916 D Mercury dime in poor condition, with the date and mint mark visible but details largely worn away, sells for $800 to $1,200. In fine condition, it brings $4,000 to $8,000. In uncirculated condition, a 1916 D Mercury dime has sold for over $100,000. Every jar of old dimes deserves examination. Every inherited coin collection with Mercury dimes in it deserves examination. The 1916 D does not look different from any other Mercury dime until you check the date and the mint mark. That check takes 10 seconds per coin. Number 7. The 1909 VDB Lincoln cent. The Lincoln cent was introduced in 1909, replacing the Indian head cent that had been in production since 1859. The designer, Victor David Brenner, included his initials, VDB, on the reverse of the coin at the bottom rim. The public response was immediate and negative. Critics objected to the prominent placement of the designer's initials on a circulating coin, and the mint removed the VDB initials after only a brief production run. The coins produced at the San Francisco Mint before the initials were removed, with the S mint mark on the obverse and the VDB on the reverse, are the 1909 VDB. Only 484,000 were produced before the dies were changed. Every one that was released into circulation was spent as a penny, and most were spent and lost. The surviving population of 1909-SVDB cents in collectible condition is small relative to collector demand. The series is one of the most popular in American numismatics, which means the key date is one of the most sought-after coins in regular collector activity. A 1909 SVDB in good condition, worn but identifiable, sells for $700 to $1,200. In fine condition, it brings $2,000 to $4,000. In uncirculated condition, a well-preserved example has sold for over $50,000. Your test requires 2 observations. First, look at the date, 1909. Then look for the S mint mark below the date on the obverse. Then turn the coin over and look for VDB at the bottom of the reverse. All 3 elements together, 1909, S mint mark, VDB on the reverse. Each of those elements alone is common. The combination is the coin that matters. Number 6. The 1932 D and 1932 S Washington quarters. The Washington quarter was introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The Philadelphia Mint produced 5.4 million quarters that year, which is a modest but not tiny production. The Denver and San Francisco mints, however, produced dramatically smaller quantities, 436,800 from Denver and 408,000 from San Francisco. Those numbers, 436,800 and 408,000, represent the mintage figures that make these 2 coins the key dates of the entire Washington quarter series, a series that ran continuously until 1998 and remains one of the most widely collected in American numismatics. Low mintage in the first year of a long-running series means high collector demand for every surviving example. The coins were spent as quarters. They passed through hands, through vending machines, through cash registers, and were gradually worn down and lost to circulation over the following decades. The ones that survived in collectible condition are genuinely scarce. A 1932 D Washington quarter in good condition sells for $100 to $200. In fine condition, it brings $300 to $600. In extremely fine condition, a 1932 D brings $1,000 to $3,000. The same grades apply similarly to the 1932 S. Your test is simple. Examine every Washington quarter dated 1932. Look for the D or S mint mark on the reverse, below the eagle and above the word quarter. A 1932 quarter with no mint mark is worth the same as any other well-worn early Washington quarter, which is modest. A 1932D or 1932S in any collectible condition is worth researching before spending. Number 5. Draped bust silver dollars from the late 18th and early 19th centuries. The draped bust dollar was produced from 1795 through 1803. These are not coins that appear in change. They are coins that appear in inherited collections, in old trunks, in safe deposit boxes, and in estate clearances where someone sorted a box of old coins without examining the dates or the denominations carefully. These are large silver coins, roughly the size of a modern silver dollar, with a portrait of Liberty on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. They look like old silver coins, which to most people means old and probably not worth much. To a numismatist, the date and the condition tell a completely different story. Several dates within the draped bust dollar series are significantly rarer than others due to low mintage or die accidents that limited production. The 1804 dollar, technically an early 19th century restrike rather than a genuine coin of the date, is one of the most famous coins in American numismatics. Only 15 are known to exist, and one sold in 1999 for over $4 million. Even without encountering an 1804 dollar, the series contains multiple dates, where a genuine example in any collectible condition represents thousands of dollars. A common date draped bust dollar in good condition sells for $500 to $1,200. A scarce date in fine condition brings $5,000 to $25,000. Any draped bust dollar should be evaluated by a professional numismatist before any decision is made, because the difference between dates and between genuine coins and counterfeits requires expertise to assess correctly. Do not clean these coins. Silver coins cleaned with household products lose the natural patina that authenticates their age and reduces their numismatic value by a significant percentage. A properly toned old silver dollar is more valuable than the same dollar that has been polished to a shine. Number 4. The 1942/1 Mercury dime overdate. An overdate is a specific type of minting error that occurred when the mint reused a die from one year in the next year's production by punching the new date over the old one. If the punch was not perfectly aligned, traces of the old date remain visible beneath the new one. The 1942/1 Mercury dime shows a 1941 date beneath the 1942 date, making the one visible below and behind the final two in the date. This is not a subtle variety that requires a microscope to detect. Under a magnifying glass at 10 times magnification, which is a standard coin collector's loupe available for under $20, the underlying one is clearly visible once you know to look for it. Both the Philadelphia and San Francisco mints produce this overdate, meaning a 1942/1 Philadelphia coin and a 1942/1-D San Francisco coin exist. The Philadelphia coins are significantly rarer, despite both being significant finds. A 1942/1 Mercury dime from Philadelphia in good condition sells for $500 to $1,200. In fine condition, it brings $2,000 to $5,000. An uncirculated example has sold for over $30,000. The 1942/1-D, while the more common of the two overdates, brings similar figures in comparable grades. Your practical situation: if you have a jar of old dimes, any Mercury dime dated 1942 deserves examination under a 10-power loupe, specifically at the last digit of the date. The magnification required to see the underlying one is not extreme. A coin collector's loupe is inexpensive, and once you own one, you will use it for every other entry on this list as well. The overdate is either there or it is not. You will know within 30 seconds of looking. Number 3. The 1972 Double Die Lincoln Cent. If the 1955 double die is the most famous error coin in American numismatics, the 1972 double die is the one most likely to still be encountered in circulation or in jars of old pennies. Because more of them exist, fewer have been pulled from circulation by collectors, and the date is recent enough that significant numbers are still moving through the coin supply. The doubling on a 1972 double die Lincoln cent is visible on the date and on the lettering on the obverse, specifically the words "Liberty and in God we trust." Unlike the 1955 version where the doubling is obvious to anyone who looks, the 1972 doubling is more subtle and benefits from magnification to confirm. A 10-power loop shows the doubling clearly on a genuine example. What makes this coin particularly relevant is volume. There are estimated to be around 75,000 1972 double die cents in existence, meaning that unlike the rarest coins on this list, finding one is a realistic possibility for someone who goes through a significant quantity of older pennies. Coin roll hunting, the practice of buying rolls of pennies from the bank and checking each one, is specifically how many 1972 double die cents have been found in the past decade. A 1972 double die Lincoln cent in circulated condition, worn but with visible doubling, sells for $100 to $300. In uncirculated condition, a well-preserved example brings $500 to $1,500. Your method: buy a few rolls of pennies from the bank. Sort out every 1972 cent. Examine each one under a loop at the date and the obverse lettering. The doubling on a genuine example will be apparent within 30 seconds of focused examination. The cost of the coin rolls is redeemable at face value if you find nothing. The upside if you find something is not trivial. Number 2. The 1916 Standing Liberty Quarter. The Standing Liberty Quarter replaced the Barber Quarter in 1916 and ran through 1930. The 1916 issue, produced only at the Philadelphia Mint in the final months of the year, has a mintage of only 52,000 coins. By comparison, the following year's production exceeded 8 million. 52,000 coins entered circulation in 1916 America and were spent as quarters. Most were worn down to bare metal within a decade of ordinary use. Circulated examples in any condition that still show the date are genuinely scarce. The 1916 Standing Liberty Quarter is one of the most famous key dates in American numismatics, known to every serious collector of 20th century coins. When one appears at a coin show, at an auction, or in an estate sale, it attracts immediate and significant attention. The design itself, with the exposed breast of liberty on the original 1916 type, was modified in 1917, making the first-year type visually distinctive in addition to being the scarcest. A 1916 Standing Liberty Quarter in poor condition, with the date barely visible, sells for $7,000 to $12,000. In fine condition, it brings $15,000 to $30,000. In extremely fine condition, an example is sold for over $100,000. The identification: examine every Standing Liberty Quarter you encounter for the date 1916. The design is immediately distinguishable from Washington quarters, being a different motif entirely with a standing figure of liberty on the obverse. Any Standing Liberty Quarter dated 1916 should be immediately separated from any collection and evaluated by a professional numismatist before any other decision is made. This is not a coin that appears in ordinary change today. It is a coin that appears in inherited collections, in coin albums, in estate boxes of mixed coins from several generations of family accumulation. Those are the places to look. Number 1. The coin already in your possession that you have not examined. The point of this video is not to send you chasing rare coins at coin shows or online auctions. The market for known rare coins is efficient. Prices are fair. Dealers know what they have. The point is, the coin's already in your home. The jar of change on the counter. The inherited collection in the closet. The coffee can full of old pennies in the garage. The album someone put together decades ago and nobody has opened since. Every coin on this list began its journey as an ordinary coin that someone spent or saved or forgot about. The 1943 copper penny that sold for $200,000 was a penny someone had in a jar. The 1955 double die that sells for $15,000 in fine condition was found in vending machine change in New England. The 1916 Standing Liberty Quarters that sell for tens of thousands were spent as quarters in 1916 and 1917 and slowly accumulated into collections over the following decades. The process that moves a coin from ordinary pocket change to significant collector value is not complicated. It requires knowing what to look for, having the right tools to look with, and looking before the coin gets spent again. The tools you need cost less than $30. A 10-power magnifying loupe for examining dates, mint marks, and die varieties. a coin reference guide for the specific series you are examining, available free online or inexpensively in print, a magnet for testing 1943 cents. The process: go through every coin in the house, sort by denomination and date. For each coin, check the date and the mint mark against the key dates for that series. Use the loop on anything interesting. Never clean anything. Never spend anything unusual until you have had it identified. The jar of pennies on the counter costs nothing to examine. The roll of dimes from the bank costs face value to search and is redeemable at face value if you find nothing. The inherited collection in the closet may contain the most significant coin on this list, and it costs nothing but time to look through it properly. The coin on this list most likely to be in your possession right now is the one you have not examined yet. Go look at it tonight. A man bought a roll of pennies from a bank and found one worth $204,000. He found it because he checked the dates. That is the entire story. The 10 coins on this list are not hypothetical. They exist. They are in circulation, in collections, in jars, in estate boxes, in inherited albums. The only difference between the person who finds one and the person who spends one is knowing what to look for and taking 30 seconds to look. You now know what to look for. Get a loop. It costs $15. Check every old coin in the house against the specific dates and mint marks on this list. Never clean anything. Never spend anything unusual before it has been identified. If this video made you get up and go find that jar of old change, hit like. It puts this in front of the next person who needed to know before they spent something significant. Subscribe, because every video on this channel is built on one principle: specific information that changes what you do before you make a decision. Go check the change.